This is the tutorial for Concept 15 Skill 11, which involves translation, reflections, and rotations. And all three of those can be summed up as in one word called a transformation. So transformation is anytime we move a figure and it stays the same size and shape, so it's congruent when we're dealing with at least the translation, reflections, and rotations. So that doesn't change. It's going to end up moving into a different spot, and we'll call that new figure an image. And prior to that, it's the pre-image. There is one transformation that does change size, and that's a dilation. So we're just looking at the ones that do not change size here. And what we have is a slide. A slide is called the translation. That's what a translation does, is it slides. It slides from one spot to another. And when you slide, it slides along a line. So notice over here, this line is drawn here showing that it's going from this area up to kind of up into the right is what this is doing. And that's what a translation does. It just moves. And so notice everything's kind of facing the same direction. When we reflect an item, we flip it, and we flip it about an axis or a mirror. And so notice how they drew this line here. Well, this would be like putting a mirror right here, and then this item just flips over to the other side. And so anytime you look in a mirror, you see your reflection, or if you put some letters up in the mirror, it would just kind of turn those letters upside down and backwards. Well, that's kind of what's happening here, is it's turning this around to the other side, and so it flips it over. So a turn is a rotation. And so typically when we rotate things, we typically rotate 90 degrees clockwise, or 90 degrees counterclockwise, or 180 degrees. However, this looks like it's been rotated a little bit more than 90 degrees. You see, whatever angle that is, that's how much it rotates. So it just turns. So looking at this one, they want us to name what ended up happening here. So these are the same images. So here's the image, and here it is over here. So what we're trying to figure out is which one of these did it do? Did it translate, did it reflect, or did it rotate? And so what I do is I look to see, does it slide? Does it move along a line? And this one definitely doesn't, because it's not facing the same direction. See here, this side is kind of pointing down. Here it's pointing up. So my next one is a reflection. Well, can I put a line like here? If I go ahead and draw a line between these two figures, does it reflect along that line? If this were a mirror, does it reflect to the other side? And yes, it does. It kind of just flips over. So we would call this one a reflection. So let's take a look at another example. This is the same image here. So over here, when we do the transformations, when we're trying to figure out which kind of transformation it is, we need to ask ourselves, first of all, are we pushing it along a straight line? So am I pushing this image from one area to the next? No, it definitely looks like I don't, because notice how the line here is kind of pointing down, here it's pointing up. If I pushed it, it would be going the same direction, just be in a different spot somewhere else. So if I did push it, that would be a translation. And if I end up being able to put a mirror right across, does the item just flip over? And no, it doesn't do that, because if I put a mirror straight across here, if I drew a line going straight across like this, you can see how it would end up not being exactly the same. See, this part of it, almost like a flag right here, should be straight down here if we went ahead and flipped it over. So that's not it either. So the next one would be, well, did it turn? And yes, it does turn. So if you kind of look at this point right here, it would turn like this. See, this point here, it kind of went in this form here. If I think about this rotating clockwise in this direction, you had to rotate all the way around until this piece here was back up. And sometimes it's nice where if you have a piece of paper, you can actually turn the paper around, and then you can see, did the image end up making the same or being in the same location as the pre-image was. So this one is a turn or a rotation. The next one, well, does the figure kind of look like it's going in the same direction? And yes, it does. See, what it does is it's sliding. It's sliding along this line, going downhill from left to right. And so when I go ahead and look at it, it could have gone straight down and straight over and straight down, or it could have just gone along that line. So we call this one a translation. The next one, well, can we put a mirror straight down between the two? And yes, we can. See, if I put the mirror right here, this one here just turned straight over onto the other side. It flipped over. And so we call this one a reflection. So that is the tutorial for Concept 15, Skill 11. Good luck.